Well, I'll shut up because I don't want to mess up your movie.
You can't mess up my stuff. Welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Hey, I know I've got a lot of new subscribers. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up, and if you're just here visiting and you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Down here today, customer called this morning and said his refrigerator's not working, and he lives in this thing, so a refrigerator's kind of important. If you want to keep food, it's kind of important anyway. I asked him to go out and take this cover off and look down in here and make sure he didn't see any yellow residue. He said he didn't. I have not opened that vent yet. Went inside, confirmed the refrigerator was on. It's on auto, and it is. He's got thermometers in the freezer and the fridge. The freezer was 60, and I think the refrigerator's like 70. So that ain't no good. So let's get this cover off right here, and let's see what we see. Alright, first thing I look at is make sure there's no yellow residue. But I'm actually going to have to pull this cover off right here to see really well. The fluid is warm. It's not what I would call hot. Cooling unit is cold. It should be a little bit warm right here. Let's go get a drill and we'll get that cover off there and we'll do a little look-see. Yeah, when did we replace this refrigerator? Been 10 or 12 years ago?
It's been about 10 years at least, yeah.
I know it's been a while. The reason I'm taking these covers off is because sometimes you'll have a little bitty leak in your cooling unit that may not leave a lot of residue, but it'll leak enough out to where it won't work anymore. So that's why I want to pull these covers off, have a good look in here. Because I thought I seen a little hint, but I don't think so. I think the cooling unit is fine. It doesn't appear like there's been any leaks anyway. Let me go get a meter and we'll start doing some checking. So what I want to do is I just want to make sure we've got a good 12 volt DC power supply to the refrigerator to run the controls. We just check that right here where we got 13.8. What I've done, I flipped my meter over to AC while I'm checking the DC side, and they are getting 60 to 70 millivolts of AC power, which is AC ripple. Refrigerators really do not like AC ripple. Don't know if that's the problem, but we're going to keep that in the front of our mind for a little bit while we do some more checking. While our meter's in the AC scale, we will go ahead and check the AC input to the board. We have 118.4. Let's see how much power is coming out on the heating element. And we got 118.4. So that's good. The heating element is getting power, which kind of knew that because the flue is warm. It's definitely not what I would call hot. So we could just have a control issue. The thermistor inside the refrigerator could be bad. The bad thing about when you work on a refrigerator is if any change you make, you really don't know if you've helped or hurt anything for, you know, a lot of hours. You know, manufacturers say 24 hours, but realistically it's gonna be 12 hours before we know if we've done any good or not if we make a change. So refrigerators are tough to work on just because of that, because it takes so long to know if you've helped it, hurt it, or made no difference at all. Now I'm going to take an amp clamp. I'm going to check and see how many amps the heating element is drawing right now. I wouldn't expect it to be a lot because the flue's just not that hot. 2.6, 2.7. I really don't know how many amps it should be pulling. I think what I'll do now is I'll just I think I'll go in there and just unplug the thermistor, which essentially just makes the refrigerator run wide open. See if the amp draw on the heating element goes up. And if it does, I think we might just have a bad thermistor. Alright, actually you unplug the thermistor out here on this one. Alright, actually when I unplugged the thermistor, the amp draw went down to nothing. So that should mean that there is no AC power coming out on the leads going for the heating element. And that is correct. Alright. That seems really odd. Alright, apparently this refrigerator is not one of them that when you unplug the thermistor, it runs wide open. So I think what I want to do now, we're going to unplug the AC side. Need a light on gas because the refrigerator is on auto, or it should. And then what we will do is we'll pull the wires off the board for the heating element, ohm across that, ohm across a brand new one, and compare the two and see if they ohm out the same. It lit right up on gas. Did you happen to try it on gas?
Yeah, it
didn't make any difference. Alright, we got 43 ohms on this new one. Let me go grab a new one and we'll check it. Well, I want to check it because I don't really remember how many ohms it should. How much resistance it should have. Alright, this should be a brand new one I just got out of the truck. Well, I know it's a brand new one I just got out of the truck, but it should be the same one that's in this refrigerator. Let's see what it ohms out. All I'm doing is putting my meter leads across the two wires. 41, so that's it's the same. What was the other one? I wrote it on my hand, I can't read it. 41 or 48. Still, I think that's close enough. Probably never be exact. This one is 41. The new one is definitely 41. The old one's 42.9, 43. So yeah, the heating element is probably good. So, I think what we're gonna have to do at this point is just replace the thermistor and see what happens. Is that ideal? No, but you know, that's just about the best you can do. I mean, sometimes you just got to change a part. And we might could test it. We have to pull the old thermistor out to change the new one. This is one of those refrigerators that actually the wire comes all the way from back here up inside to the refrigerator, and you have to change it all. Some of them you just change the little thermistor with a little short piece of wiring harness inside a refrigerator, but of course not this one, right? Just because it it can't be that easy. That thermistor is a little 2-pin connector down there on this control board right here, black plastic box. Gonna have to pull the refrigerator out of the hole a little bit, I think, to be able to reach up in there and get that wire out. So I've got plenty of videos which show changing refrigerators, so if you want to see how this is going to happen, go watch one of those. I'm going to see if I can get this thing changed, and I'll be back. There is actually a way you can test these thermistors. If Dometic were in the office today, this is the week between Christmas and New Year. Guarantee they're not in the office. Have a brand new thermistor in the truck. There is the part number. What you do is fill a glass half full of water and the rest ice. Well, this gentleman doesn't have any ice because his refrigerator hasn't worked for the last couple days. But we do have a skiff of snow out here. So little water, a lot of snow. We're going to drop this thermistor down in here. I'm going to hook my meter up to this end first. There's that 2-pin connector that I was talking about. Alright, I'm gonna hook my meter up to this, move y'all over here, and then we'll drop this thermistor in this cup of snow and water, read resistance, then we'll take the cup of snow and water inside, drop the thermistor in the refrigerator in there, and come out here and read the ohms. So let's do that. This will be fun. I think y'all will like it. If you don't, go watch another video. Life's short. Don't watch things you don't like. Don't waste your time on YouTube. Get my meter, set it back on ohms. The little horseshoe looking symbol. I'm going to probe the back side of this connector. And right now, the ambient temperature out here is around 40 degrees, reading 6.3 ohms. It's going to be hard to keep this connected. There we are, 6.3. Let's drop this down in there, get it all the way down into the water. And as you can see, the meter is changing. So we'll give this a few minutes to equalize out, and then we'll compare this thermistor to the old thermistor. See, it's already up to 8 ohms. So give this a few minutes to work, and then I'll tell you what we got as a final number. Alright, it's been just a few minutes. Seems like it's going to settle in at 9.45. It hasn't changed for the last 30 seconds or so. So now I'm just going to take our cup of snow and water in, drop the old thermistor in it in the refrigerator, and then come out here and read the ohms. Well, folks, I got bad news for this customer. He's standing right behind me listening. So the old thermistor went right to 9.4. So the thermistor is fine. I believe the board is fine. I think the cooling unit, I know it doesn't appear to have had a leak, but it could have a blockage. You know, this refrigerator's 10 years old or so. As a matter of fact, I put this refrigerator in here, me and my helper Hunter. That was a long time ago. So the only thing that we can do at this point is what I call hot wiring the refrigerator, which a lot of the refrigerators, like I say, if you just unplug the thermistor, that just that makes the refrigerator run wide open. Well, the way this one's wired, you actually have to wire the heating element into an AC source, wait 6 to 8 hours without opening the doors, then check your temperature. If there's no change, or it's not like really cold, because in 6 to 8 hours running wide open. The freezer should be close to 0. The fridge would probably be in the high 30s or so. I'm not going to hang around for 6 hours to see the results of this test. I'm going to do that, then I'm going to have the customer monitor it. He's a pretty sharp fella, he can handle it. I'm not going to show you really what I do. It's just basically plugging an AC cord into the heating element and just letting it run wide open. But if you do that, don't let it run more than about 6 or 8 hours, because it will get super hot. The cooling unit will get super hot, and you could have an issue. So at this point, I'm gonna have to just end this video. I will talk to the customer in 6 to 8 hours, see what happened, and I will let y'all know, and I'll sign out at that time. So y'all just hang on, take a break, take a nap. I don't care what you do, we'll be back in 6 to 8 hours. It is the next day, and talk to the customer. Bad news. Apparently that cooling unit must have a blockage in it somewhere, because he ran the test for 6 or 8 hours or whatever, and the refrigerator and freezer did not cool down. So that's when you do that test, you take all the controls out of the equation, and that refrigerator just runs wide open. And I mean, it's an absolute test whether the cooling unit's any good or not, and that cooling unit is no good. So it is time to either replace the cooling unit or replace the refrigerator, because that refrigerator is 10 years old or so. You know, I just don't recommend doing cooling units in a refrigerator that old, just because by the time you buy the cooling unit and you pay somebody to install it, you've almost bought a refrigerator. You're with a few $100s away from buying a refrigerator. You know, I think, me personally, it's just best to bite the bullet and just buy your refrigerator. Then you've got new refrigerator, new controls, everything's brand new. You got a 2-year warranty on it or whatever. And because this gentleman lives in this thing full time, he's lived in this camper ever since he's been a customer of mine, which is probably been 12, 13, 14, 15 years or so. And because I put that refrigerator in there, we figured it's probably about 10 years ago. So yeah, he's probably just gonna look at replacing the refrigerator, and life moves on. Why don't y'all move on down there in that comment section, leave me a comment, a criticism, a concern. I am gonna go up the road and fix another one, and y'all have a fantastic day.